Hey everyone, and welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're diving into an absolute heavyweight clash of military engineering. We're going to look at two of the most formidable ground combat vehicles on the planet, each representing entirely different philosophies of modern warfare. So grab your notebooks because this is going to be a fascinating ride into the mechanics, the strategies, and the wild future of armored combat. Right off the bat, I want you ask yourself a question. In modern armored warfare, what actually matters more? Blistering speed or impenetrable armor? It's kind of the ultimate design trade-off in tank manufacturing. You literally can't have everything without making a vehicle too heavy to actually move or too light to survive a hit. Keep that crucial trade-off in the back of your mind as we analyze our two contenders today. So, here's our fight card for today. First, we'll meet the modern tanks, then we'll jump inside China's Type 99, followed by the American M1 Abrams. After that, we're doing a head-to-head comparison, and finally, we'll look at how the new drone era is shaking everything up. Let's get right into it. Section 1. Meet modern tanks, the apex ground predators. In one corner, we've got China's Type 99, and in the other, the United States M1 Abrams. These aren't just your run-of-the-mill vehicles. They are the absolute pinnacle of their respective nations' military design. We're talking decades of research, literally billions of dollars in funding, and two completely opposite approaches to solving the exact same problem: how to absolutely dominate a ground war. Moving to Section 2. Let's take a look inside China's Type 99, often called the Dragon Spear. Now, the Type 99 didn't just appear out of nowhere. Actually, back in 1989, China awarded a formal development contract specifically to break their reliance on foreign tech. Fast forward a bit to 1999, and the Project 9910 prototypes were rolling out in Beijing. It officially hit the field in 2001, but the real game changer? That happened in 2014, when the heavily modernized Type 99A entered service, basically becoming the backbone of China's maneuver combat forces. 1,500. That's a massive number, right? Well, that is the exact horsepower of the liquid-cooled twin-turbo diesel engine sitting right inside the modern Type 99A. I mean, this power plant is an absolute beast. It gives the Chinese tank some incredible mobility, letting it tear across rough terrain and completely outmaneuver much heavier opponents. So what kind of punch does it actually pack? Well, it's built around a massive 125mm smoothbore cannon. But here's the really interesting part. It uses a carousel autoloader. By automating the loading process, Chinese engineers essentially eliminated the need for a human loader, which shrinks the crew down to just 3 people. Oh, and its gun tube? It can actually fire anti-tank guided missiles, like the Reflex laser-guided system, giving it serious reach across the battlefield. All right, Section 3, the American M1 Abrams, the battle-tested behemoth. Now, the American design philosophy goes in a completely different direction. The Abrams rocks a 120mm cannon, so slightly smaller in diameter than the Type 99, but it relies on a traditional manual loader. That means you need a 4-man crew. The U.S. places a huge premium on heavy, incredibly dense Chobham composite armor, prioritizing crew survivability above almost everything else. In fact, all the ammunition is kept in a completely separate interior compartment with blowout panels. So if the tank takes a direct hit, the chances of a catastrophic internal explosion are vastly reduced. To really understand the American approach to firepower, you just have to look at the ammo. Specifically, the M1A4 armor-piercing, fin-stabilized, discarding Saba cartridge. Yeah, it's a mouthful, but basically, it's a depleted uranium long-rod penetrator custom-built for the Abrams. It's designed to punch right through enemy tanks equipped with third-generation explosive reactive armor. And if you check out the base of that cartridge, you'll notice these very distinct metal rings. Those rings make up what's known as the Ammunition Data Link, or ADL. Why is that cool? Because this interface lets the Abrams' fire control system send real-time, critical information straight into the cartridge literally moments before it's fired. This kind of networked ammunition totally maximizes the Abrams' lethality, making sure that even the most heavily armored enemies out there don't stand a chance. Section 4. Let's do a head-to-head comparison, a real tale of the tape. First up is combat weight, and wow, the disparity here is huge. The Type 99A comes in at around 55 to 58 tons. The M1A2 Abrams, on the other hand, is an absolute unit, tipping the scales anywhere from 67 to 72 tons. All that extra weight on the Abrams goes straight into its incredibly thick composite armor. It's basically a rolling fortress, but, as you'd guess, being that heavy definitely comes with a physical cost. And that cost is speed. Because the Type 99 is hauling around significantly less weight, it gets a massive advantage in maneuverability. the Chinese tank can hit a blistering 60 miles per hour on roads, totally leaving the heavier Abrams in the dust, which chugs along at about 42 miles per hour. In a highly dynamic, fast-paced battlefield, that extra speed lets the Type 99 reposition and pull off flanking maneuvers much faster. When we look at how they actually engage the enemy, it's night and day. The Type 99's 125mm autoloader brings those longer-range guided missiles into the mix, so their game plan is to strike the Abrams from nearly a mile out. But on the flip side, M1 Abrams crews will swear up and down that a well-trained, highly motivated human loader can actually arm their 120mm cannon way faster than an automated machine can, giving them a much higher sustained rate of fire in a close-up brawl. Plus, let's be real, a human loader isn't going to suffer from a random mechanical software glitch. But hey, specs on a piece of paper only tell half the story. As some military analysts have pointed out, the M1 Abrams has a hard-earned credibility thanks to several real-world wartime successes, especially its absolutely pulverizing performance during the Gulf War. The Type 99? Well, for all its impressive speed and on-paper firepower, it remains pretty much completely untested in actual combat. And until a machine actually takes fire in a chaotic, real-world scenario, its true capabilities will always have a bit of a question mark hanging over them. Which brings us to Section 5, the new drone era, and our rapidly shifting battlefield. So if you've been following the news lately, especially the conflict in Ukraine, you know armored warfare is being totally turned on its head. It has become shockingly clear just how vulnerable these multi-million-dollar traditional tanks are to, frankly, incredibly cheap single-use attack drones. For decades, engineers just slapped the heaviest armor on the front and sides of tanks, leaving the top pretty thin. Well, modern overhead drone warfare has completely exposed that Achilles heel, suddenly turning these apex predators into, well, kind of easy targets. China has definitely been watching this unfold, and they are scrambling to adapt. They've been rushing these urgent retrofits onto the Type 99 just to keep them survivable. We're talking GL-6 active protection system launchers to swat incoming projectiles out of the air, 4 brand new radars, 360-degree vision for the crew, and remarkably, they're even integrating drone control consoles right into the tank. Though it's kind of crazy to think about, to launch those companion drones, the Type 99 crew still has to manually pop open the top hatch, exposing themselves to the exact threats they're trying to fight off. Now, the American response to all this, just as dramatic. After seeing the recent combat losses of traditional Western armor, the U.S. military made a massive pivot. Step 1, they just outright canceled plans to further modernize the existing M1A2 Abrams. Step 2, they kicked off a totally clean-sheet 4th-generation design program called the M1E3, aiming to have it ready for the 2030s. They basically realized that just bolting more heavy armor onto a Cold War-era design simply isn't going to cut it against swarms of networked drones. So that brings us to our final thought. We've looked at the big trade-off between the blistering speed of the Type 99 and the rolling fortress that is the Abrams. But in a world where a literal $500 drone can completely wipe out a $5 million tank, we've got to ask, is the era of massive, heavily armored tanks coming to an end? Or are we just watching it evolve into something entirely different? A new, highly networked, drone-assisted style of warfare. I'll let you guys ponder that one. Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer, and as always, keep questioning what you see.